I know I'm late to making this video, but I was at TwitchCon, okay? Get off my ass.
Boo!
Elgato just released a brand new teleprompter, and this thing has quickly become one of my favorite pieces of gear in my entire setup. Look, I don't want this video to become a shameless plug for Elgato, so let me just get all of the stuff out of the way that they want me to tell you. So this thing is being marketed as a tool to help you read scripts while recording a YouTube video, or reading Twitch chat while maintaining eye contact with your viewers, or just as a way to make your Zoom calls and Discord calls a little more personal, you know? Bullshit you've already heard in other YouTube videos. And don't get me wrong, those things are all true, but you already heard all those ideas in other videos, and I don't want to waste your time making the exact same video you've already watched. Just deepfake my face onto Harris's video if that's what you want. So instead, I upgraded the prompter. I made my own little improvements, made my own little UI to address some of the shortcomings that I believe the Elgato Prompter has. And these are ideas that you're not going to see anywhere else because I made them, because they're my ideas, so I wanted to talk about them. But for the sake of completeness, let's just go over what the Elgato Prompter is. If you've never used a teleprompter before, the way it works is you have a screen that lies flat and it reflects up to a mirror. But behind the mirror is your camera. And so what that looks like is for you can read what's on the screen, you can put your script there, but for your viewers, it looks like you're looking directly into the camera. It's kind of trippy because you don't even see the camera behind the mirror, you just see the screen. Now, Elgato's implementation of a teleprompter is an all-in-one solution, so everything you need comes in the box. So it comes with the screen, comes with a mirror, and the screen is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. It's 9 inches, so it's slightly smaller than an iPad, and I'm sure there's some kind of penis joke in there that I'm not gonna make because we're totally mature like that. That's not in the script, I just added that in there. Now, the resolution of the screen is admittedly pretty low, but it's really not as big of an issue as it seems, because once you put your camera 1 or 2 arms lengths away, you really don't notice how low the resolution is. It looks sharp enough, it's easy to read text on it, and most importantly, the colors on the screen are actually pretty good. Now, the prompter plugs into your PC with a single cable, and then your PC just picks it up as a second monitor, just like any other monitor. You don't need any additional power cables, no HDMI cables. It's just a single USB-C to USB-A cable. And when I said everything comes in the box, I mean everything comes in the box. Like, it comes with multiple backplates, so you can mount basically any camera, whether it's a webcam or a mirrorless camera. They give you a bunch of different ring sizes to fit basically any lens that you can throw at it. You just find the ring size that fits your lens, you screw it onto your lens, slip the teleprompter right over the lens, and then you're done. And if for some reason your camera just isn't supported, they even have a universal backplate that just has a cloth so you can cover in all of the light getting into the teleprompter. And the unit itself is pretty light. Like I said, you literally just slip it onto the front of your camera lens and your camera should hold it. In fact, Elgato was so confident about that they told me if I break my camera that they'll replace my camera for me. So I might just break my camera so that they give me a new one. But if you want that added extra security, there are multiple mounting options underneath the teleprompter, so you can do that if you want to, if you're too much of a pussy. Now, I want to get into the software, but let's address the elephant in the room, because this thing costs $280. And I know there's gonna be a million people being like, oh my God, Elgato's trying to rob us like a thief in the night. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I wiped my ass with $280. It's a lot of money, I will admit that. But there are plenty of cheaper accessories you can buy that you can just slip your phone into or slip your tablet into. Yeah, you could DIY something yourself, buy a little field monitor, buy a mirror, but I promise you it's not gonna be that much cheaper than just buying this. And even if you could build something for like half the cost, it's probably gonna take you like 30 hours to do all the research and then assemble it yourself. Do you know how much like Valorant you can get done in that time? And it definitely won't be as easy to set up. And that will become very apparent when we talk about the software. So let's talk about that software. Now, as I said, the prompter just acts as a second monitor. And this opens up so many opportunities because that means you can put whatever you want on this screen. You can do a full screen preview of OBS and look into your camera while you make adjustments to your lighting, pull up a video call on Discord. You can even play games directly in the prompter if you want to look like a creepy stalker person for some reason. And this honestly works way better than it has any right to. The screen is 60 Hertz, so all of the movement on the screen looks really fluid. But if you install the Camera Hub software, this is where you can load up all of your scripts for your YouTube videos and read Twitch chat. So let's talk about the text option first. Here you can paste in your script and then have it auto scroll. So you just copy and paste your YouTube script, put it into this box, and the text will just be overlaid on top of your second monitor. So if you lower the opacity, you can actually see what's behind the text. And it's great because you can do a full screen preview of OBS so that you're able to still see your camera underneath your script. I really wish that there was a way that you could load your text from maybe a text file instead of just copy pasting into this little box. So can you guys like add that for me, please? Thank you. Now you can adjust the width of the text, so if you find that your eyes are moving left and right too much in the camera, you can make the text narrower to minimize that eye movement. And if you're like neck deep in the Elgato ecosystem and you got the Stream Deck, you got the one with the knobs and the pedals, and you're like a millionaire, it always gets better for you millionaires, so unfair. You can use the Stream Deck to control the prompter. So you can skip text, you can change the scroll speed, you can scroll through the text. It's actually really cool if you have the foot pedals because you can control the teleprompter without it actually looking like you're controlling the teleprompter. So it starts to look really interesting if you've already invested in Elgato's other devices. But of course, you don't need any of that. If you just want to use the teleprompter as a teleprompter, you can do that. There's also a chat mode. So this is only a beta at the moment, and it's very similar to the text mode, just for Twitch chat. Now this is interesting because I would have thought that you could just open up Twitch chat in your browser and then throw it up on the monitor. And while you can do that, it actually doesn't look that great. Like, it's very hard to read text. There's all these UI elements that are difficult to remove. So I do appreciate that Elgato developed their own in-house way to read Twitch chat. It is very basic though, so you don't get any chat badges, the emotes don't all show up, the colors of the names are all wrong, and you don't have many options for changing the fonts. I would have liked Elgato to spend a little bit more time polishing this up more before they release the prompter. I'm not really a fan of companies including beta software with a product that you've already paid money for. Now they did tell me directly that they're working on an update to add badges and make it look prettier, but you know, even though Elgato does pay me money and they like flew me halfway across the world, just like sick. I'm gonna say the same thing that I say with all my gear videos and reviews. Buy the product for what it can do now, not for what the company promises they'll do for you in the future. I think it's only fair for me to mention that because if this were any other company, I'd be crucifying them for that. So yeah, get your shit together, Elgato. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about the Elgato Prompter. Now, let's talk about some of the upgrades and ideas I've implemented. Now, as I keep saying repeatedly, you can put whatever you want on this because it's a second monitor. And that gave me an idea. What if you built up a scene in OBS that you never display to your viewers, you never show it to anyone, but you project that onto the prompter? Now, it turns out you can take any scene or source that you want, right-click it, and project just that one scene to any one of your monitors. And that actually works exceptionally well. You could take your camera, right-click it, project it onto the monitor, and then use the Camera Hub software to overlay Twitch chat over your camera. So that way you can see your camera, and then on top of that, you could also see Twitch chat. But I wanted to take it a step further because this is just OBS, right? So anything we can do in OBS, we can show on the prompter. So the first thing I wanted to add was a little recording indicator. You know how in some cameras, when you hit the record button, it draws this red little border around your camera so that you know for sure that you're recording? Well, I just added that. So every time I start a recording in OBS, it draws a red border around my camera. This has been one of my favorite things that I've discovered when recording YouTube videos, because now I can hit the record button without having to look over to OBS to see that I'm actually recording. I can just look at the camera the whole time and I'll know for sure. You can do this pretty easily on a Stream Deck. You just make a multi-action that starts a recording, and then the second action turns on a red border filter in OBS. I didn't really like that though, because I would have to use a Stream Deck for that to work. So I actually wrote some of my own code in StreamerBot that detects every time OBS starts recording, and then that way, even if I click inside of the OBS window, the red border will still appear in the prompter. I also drew up a rule of thirds grid that I just added as a PNG into OBS. So that helps me frame my shots while I'm recording videos. I don't really know what a rule of thirds does, but I see camera nerds using that all the time, so I figured it would just look cool. For real, it actually does help me. I actually added some extra grid lines at the top and bottom because, as you'll notice in my YouTube videos are 2:1 aspect ratio, but I record 16:9. So I added these little grid lines at the top and the bottom so that I know everything above that grid line is gonna get cut off in the edit. You can also see that I added a little crosshair. Now, as I mentioned before, the screen kind of makes it really hard to see the actual camera lens behind the mirror unless you turn the brightness all the way down. So when I'm talking into the camera, I don't really know where the center of my lens is, so I have no idea where I'm supposed to be looking. So I added a little crosshair so that I know exactly where to look. Now, your lens is not necessarily gonna be dead set right in the middle, so what I did was I turned the brightness all the way down, positioned the crosshair where I could see the camera, and then I turned the brightness all the way back up. And because I'm pedantic, that wasn't enough for me, so I even took it a step further by programming the knobs on my Stream Deck Plus to act as like a little Etch-a-Sketch so I could move the crosshair using the knobs. Next, I wanted to add a better looking Twitch chat overlay. I didn't really like the built-in Twitch chat. It's too basic, it lacks the badges and emotes, and it was really annoying, so I just made my own Stream Elements overlay that includes Twitch chat and then added that to OBS as a browser source. So now I have full control over the fonts, the username colors show up correctly, I can see all the badges, and overall it's just much easier to read than the default chat overlay in Camera Hub. And since this is just a source in OBS, I added a button on my Stream Deck to show and hide Twitch chat whenever I want. I didn't mention this before, but the Camera Hub Twitch chat overlay is kind of annoying because every time you turn off Twitch chat and then turn it on again, you have to wait for it to reconnect, and that was super annoying. With this method, I can just press a button and the chat messages will appear with 0 loading time. Now, you can't scroll through Twitch chat using your mouse. You can do that with the Camera Hub overlay, so I would still like Elgato to update the built-in chat because I do miss the ability to just, scroll with my mouse to scroll through the messages. Finally, I added a few more of my own little helpful indicators. So you could throw on your sub alerts or your follower alerts if you want. I didn't do that myself, but I did add my ad widget, which I talked about in this video. Basically, if you haven't seen it, every time an ad runs on Twitch, it shows this little overlay with a loading bar so that I know and my viewers know exactly how many seconds are left in the ad break. That one I released for free, so if you want to set that up for your own stream, you can click on the thing up here or wherever it is up here. The other one I added was this stream status indicator, so every time I'm dropping frames in OBS, it shows a little icon in the corner, and so that way if I'm looking at the prompter and I see that little icon, I know as a streamer that my internet connection sucks, so I can tell my viewers that. That widget you can get on Patreon along with 15 or so other custom widgets I've made for streamers, so you can get that up here. I've also released a YouTube Music and Spotify widget, which display every song you're playing in Spotify for your viewers, so you can get that there. It's $10 a month. You just have to do it for 1 month. Thank you. But the point is, the more little widgets and indicators you put on the teleprompter, the less you have to look down at OBS while you're streaming. I even made this little indicator that shows that my microphone is working. I haven't made it yet, to be honest. I am going to make it later. So here it is. Here's the video. I hope that I was able to make that. Otherwise, I'll just cut that part out of this video. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Elgato Prompter. Now, let me know what you guys think. I know I skimmed past the upgrades I made because this video is kind of long already and I don't want to bore you with like the programmy setup parts of it. But if you'd like to see me do a longer video dedicated to just those little upgrades I made to the teleprompter, let me know. And then like you gotta sub and then like and all that stuff, because if you don't, then I'm gonna assume that you don't want that and then I won't make it. As I mentioned, if you'd like to get some of my custom made widgets for streamers, they're up on Patreon. There's a list over on the Discord server so you can see which widgets I've already released. I'm currently working on the Game Boy camera widget that I showed off at TwitchCon, and I do plan to release that on Patreon, so if you're interested in that, then stay tuned because that's where it will go up. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Go follow me on Twitch and follow me on Twitter and do whatever it is that you want to do with your life because the video's done now. Thanks. See you when I bye.